Hey, what's up, friends? It's Kenyon, and welcome to Evolution Ave, home of real estate evolved and a limitless mindset. This is episode 18. Yes, episode 18. I have a very special guest. I have my guy, my brother, my fellow Morganite, Mike Benz, Associate General Counsel at Meta. Yes, the king of IP himself. So this is going to be a great episode. You're going to be inspired. You have to share it because this is going to really hit home. It's going to give you a lot of great information. And if you love this content, please like, subscribe, and share. But without further ado, let's get to the episode.
Below, I thought you wonder and I let go. I don't need much in my life, I know. I like it better on the water. I've been drowning in a lemonade. You'll never get the best of me. I've been drowning in a lemonade.
What is going on, friends, and welcome to the episode. This is episode 18. This is going to be a crazy dope episode. I got one of my guys here, and he's gonna come on board in a second. But this is episode 18 with my man Mike Benz. Mike Benz is Associate General Counsel at Meta, but more importantly, he is my brother. He is a New Yorker. He is a Jamaican. He is a Morganite. Yes, we went to Morgan State together. And, we just continue to stay attached, stay building all throughout these years. And we linked up for this. This is probably going to be the first of many of projects that we're going to work on together. But, without further ado, let me go bring in my man, Mike. Mike, what's good, brother? Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me. We adults now, right? 18. This is episode number 18. We grown.
Yo, facts. True story, man. Episode 18. We were 18 years old coming in. Like I said, I came in 2 years. I came in about a year and a half, sophomore year in the Morgan. You was already there, but instantly clicked. We had a lot of mutual. I don't know if people know this, but especially at HBCUs, but probably at any college, when you're from up north and you go to college anywhere in the South, right? And Baltimore is kind of like that. It's a mid-Atlantic, I think they consider Baltimore, but
right,
it's right above that Mason-Dixon line, right? You're almost getting into the South. But people from the tri-state area always tend to stick together and know each other, right? Because we just all 100%. From the same area. And me being from New Jersey, which is real funny, everybody associates New Jersey with you're from New York. Like you can say, yeah, I'm from New Jersey. Yeah, that's New York, right? You're from New York, right? So that's how that goes. And then you got Philly. So, and I think Delaware probably has the same fate that I have from being in New Jersey. If you say you from Delaware, they say, oh, you from Philadelphia, right? They all kind of
Yep.
But man, brother, welcome to the show, man. I know it's been a couple of weeks in the making, and you and I always appreciate you more, man. And hey, our Bears didn't pull out for homecoming, but we still bearing down. Hopefully next year. But I think they're having a good season. So big shout out to Morgan State University, help grow us to who we are today. You know what I'm saying? Morgan State Bears, stand up. So, bro, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it because I think this is an exciting episode for me, to link with my guy. Like you said, man, we're not 18 no more. We're grown-ups. We've come a long way, right? And where we are, I think your story is going to be inspiring. And this is what, this platform for me is all about. It's all about inspiring people, motivating people, empowering people. And you and I have a lot of the same missions of the people we want to, bring up and expose to the greatness of this world and expose their greatness to the world. What's up, friends? It's Kenyon of the Wolfpack at eXp Realty. Listen, if you're an experienced agent looking to do 3 to 5 more deals per month by using modern strategies like social media and building your brand, or if you're looking to build a team, maybe you're looking to add an additional revenue stream by helping other agents be successful just because you love doing that, or you're simply trying to make more money doing the same thing you do day in and day out, we should talk. If you're a new agent ready to commit to learning how to become a rockstar agent and executing day in and day out, mastering the art of being a dual career agent and earning an additional 6 figures every year, and becoming the go-to real estate pro in your area, we should talk too. Oh, and by the way, collaborate with some of the highest earning agents around the globe, free coaching, dynamic masterminds, all with no coaching fees and no additional splits. Book a 30-minute meeting with me and let's discuss your options. The Wolfpack may or may not be for you, but at least you'll understand why over 140 plus agents join us every single month. And you'll understand why I'm one of the greatest motivators of all time. Talk soon. So Mike, without further ado, tell us, this is your show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and name something that you're super thankful for.
first and foremost, I'm thankful for being a part of this episode. I think the work that you're doing in the community, the work that you're doing for our community, like you are a representation of what Morganite should be. Not only building for yourself, delving into different avenues, but also taking that beyond, right? Taking the education and the experience and the life that we got and building on it, and not just doing it by yourself, but sharing it and spreading the love for other people, man. So really humble to be here, really grateful, thankful for that. I'm gonna give you something else because I know that's not what you was asking for, but man, I have to say thank you for bringing me on in episode 18.
Appreciate that. I appreciate you more, bro. I told you that, but yeah, man, it's amazing, man. It's just, the way that we can't stay away from each other, right? Ran into you at the airport a couple years back. Then it's just when you got two people just doing great things, it's just automatic that the universe continues to bring us together and keep us connected, man. And it's an amazing thing. So I'm very thankful and very appreciative that you and I are still brothers and still keeping in touch, bro. So really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So it's funny, we ran into each other, because you asked me the question, what do I do? So I'm an attorney. I'm the global head of patent portfolio strategy for Meta, which is formerly Facebook. So everyone's like, wait, Meta? Oh, wait, Facebook. Yep. And of course, I'm in charge of things like Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook. So, the ideas, the inventions that go into your feed come to me and my team before they roll out to you. That's the best way I like to think of it. Yeah. And I'm an IP attorney. So generally speaking, I don't just cover patents. I cover trademarks, copyrights, litigation, helping you acquire them, all of the good stuff. So I like to, we actually ran into each other when I was running for litigation. And I think it might have been DC, and we would have just passed each other right in the airport right there at DCA.
Was it one of those airports down there?
It was one of those. I don't even know which one it was.
I thought it might have been Hartsfield Jackson. I don't know why, but I thought it might have been Hartsfield Jackson. Maybe not.
Who knows? It could have been, man. We always in the airport, you know that, and especially pre-pandemic. Now we're just getting back to it.
Facts.
So yeah, that's really what I do in a nutshell. I do that for Meta, so globally, anything. And I'm also like you, man. I can't sit still, so I'm always focused on nonprofit work. I'm the chair of several nonprofit organizations, helping to give back to the community. Page turners make great learners, focused on reading. Title I schools, making sure that they learn, because if you don't learn to read, by the time you're in third grade, chances of incarceration skyrocket hundreds and hundreds %. And you don't want that, right? Particularly for our community. Also involved in the Georgia Wildlife Federation and the NCPP, the National Council on Patent Practice. I'm making sure we bring more women and underrepresented minorities into the community, into the legal profession. Also just launched another initiative, Adapt, advancing diversity across patent teams. So trying to make sure that we represent and do some big things in the legal profession so that more attorneys look like me and you.
Word. Yeah. Love that, man. Love that mission. And, one of my missions, and that's something we share, I want more real estate professionals, more entrepreneurs to look like us, to come from where we come from, to know that, the world needs their dreams. And that's a big thing for us, man. Mike, you are in ATL, the great city of ATL. As you see, I am draped in Atlanta because
appreciate you repping.
It is.
Appreciate you repping.
You know what I'm saying? It is Victory Monday. A-Town, stay down. Big win for us. Your Giants had a big win last night, yesterday, so they're doing well. Look, I always tell people, whether you're a New York sports fan or not, the world of sports is always better when New York is good. That's just plain facts. Nothing, no ifs, ands, buts about it. What else are you thankful for, man? I know you said being on the show, but what's something that's deeply rooted in you that you're super thankful for?
So many things. Obviously, I'm extremely thankful for my wife, my kids, for my position in life. Really enjoy the opportunities I've been given. But I think the one thing that really stands out, that resonates with me, is I'm thankful for all the people that poured into me over the years. I wouldn't be where I am today if somebody didn't say, I think he's got potential. He's got opportunity. And people would reach out and reach up to me and help me kind of give me a hand up. And so I'm so grateful for that. I wouldn't be where I am without it. And that's what drives me. That's one, reoccurring theme. I've got to give back now, right? It's my opportunity to pass it on. And so that's what I'm really thankful for.
Man, that's so dope, man, because I just said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I put it on LinkedIn. I said, I will make $1 billion by pouring into people, right? And then as a speaker, one of the things I always tell people, like people say, what do you do? And I always say, I love my family and I pour into people. And you just said that, man. And this is that brother from another connection, man. This is just how it works, man. People, listen, the universe will bring you to the right people. You don't have to chase people. You don't have to try to impress people that don't mean anything, that's not going to, be beneficial or value to your life. The universe brings the right people. And when you see those people like me and Mike and a lot of the cast that we went to Morgan with, and just the people we're building relationships today and the people we're pouring into, everything just works out, man. Everything works out.
People realize we've got both sides of the coin, right? We got real property in yourself. So
right.
Real estate is what you do. That's your bag. That's how you make sure that people, not only you pour into the community, helping them to create generational wealth. Absolutely. I do that. I also deal in property, just another type. So I deal in intellectual property of the mind, making sure that people secure their innovation, particularly in our community, man. You see it all the time on social. A lot of influencers, we don't get to secure our intellectual property. And so that's what I'm out here doing. Same thing, pouring into people, man. I love that mission. So I wanted to say, thank you. You keep doing that real property. I keep doing that intellectual property, and together we all bring it together.
Yes, man. Because I need you, bro. I already told. Look, I've been texting you for the past 2 weeks, bro. Because I just be having these ideas, and I said, Mike, we're gonna do some things together, man. I got some ideas, man, and you bring in my real ideas and your real IP, savoir faire. Listen, we're gonna do some things, man. People, look, let's just stay tuned, folks. It's gonna be some things. I might not even want my name on them because I just want to stay low key. I always tell people I want to be, I want to do things and create, but I don't really want to be famous. But you might not know who did it, but we'll know who did it, right? So that's gonna be real dope right there. Tell us more about the journey, man. Tell us more about the journey. Starting with, I always love to ask this question. In telling us about the journey, end the journey with, what did you want to be when you grew up? Because you're an attorney, right? And you and I both know at Morgan, that's not what you set out to be, right? So tell us more about your journey and what did you want to be when you grew up, and kind of let's get to where we are now.
Yo, we got to go all the way back. This is where you get the blurry screen effects. We got to go all the way back to Jamaica, West Indies, baby. Boop, boop, boop.
There you go.
Born in Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Right.
Grew up there till the age of 9 years old, and then all the way up to New York. So moved to New York when I was 9 years old. And at that point, I'm in the mean streets. I grew up in Yonkers, YO, rep YO, Mary J, rest in peace to X, LOX, all that stuff. This is what I grew up around, right? These are my people. These are the streets. And I had to learn to kind of adapt to a different culture, one that was not the same island that I lived on, right? Which was just nothing but beaches. But there was more opportunity if you knew where to look. And for a long time, I didn't know where to look. And so, I'm a Caribbean kid. So a lot like many Caribbeans, many Africans, you're going to be a doctor. That was it. Right. I had all the choices in the world so long it was a doctor.
Is that a big Caribbean? Is that?
Oh,
when we were at Morgan, that's what you went to medical school, and I know you'll get into that. But I didn't know that was a Caribbean thing.
It's very much so. I mean, you hear it though, right? Like so many Caribbean parents. Yeah, you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be an engineer. You might have those two real choices. Okay. I'm really just starting to hear people say, okay, you could be a lawyer, but I still think there's a misconception of what that is, right? And that was a big part of what happened in our community, right? We know criminal lawyers.
Right.
That's really kind of the extent of it, right? You don't want no parts of a criminal lawyer. So it was really like doctor or engineer. And I said, okay, I'm going to be a doctor. So from a very young age, that's where it was.
Right. Because what it makes me think about, and you're at Meta. I had a question about that too, but you're at Meta and you probably see this. So when I was working in the tech world at Microsoft and IBM, I used to work with a lot of people from India. And we would go on rides on our way to see clients and stuff like that. And they would ask me about our culture, American culture, African-American culture, Black culture. And I would say, well, you know what, Shrinu, let me ask you about your culture, because I don't know much. Educate me. And I was like, why is it that in some people in your culture are heavy in tech, but others are heavy in entrepreneurship, like gas stations, Dunkin' Donuts, 7-Elevens, all that stuff. And he broke it down to me. He said, in the North, and I might be getting it mixed up, the North part of the country is highly all entrepreneurship, right? You don't work, you only own. That's the rule. You grow up to own something and that's it. Then in the Southern region, and like I said, it could be flip-flop, it's all tech. right? So that's what I feel like I'm learning that about the Caribbean, right? Because I always hear people say, the Caribbean has some of the best doctors, right? You always hear that. You've always heard that. But now, you kind of bring that to light for me. So that's pretty cool.
Well, think about it this way. So we hear it often in our community. What do you want to grow up when you're in America? When you're Black, a minority, you want to be an entertainer or an athlete? Because that's what you see. That's where
Right.
success is, right? Turn on the television, you're going to see an entertainer or an athlete. They're flossing, they're stunting, they're on the gram, they're doing whatever they want to do. And you're like, I want to get to that. Well, in the Caribbean, for a long time, we didn't have any of this. We don't have sports teams. We have soccer teams. So certainly you could be a soccer player. You want to be a football player. Not American football, but, Caribbean football
Right.
or global football.
Yeah.
But then you also have the other piece of it too, which is our track and field team, right? Shout out to Usain Bolt, the whole, the entire Jamaican track team. You know it. Women, men, they run. But Olympics are only 4 years. So it's not something that you're seeing all the time either. So when you think of success, it's going to often be you be a doctor. If you be a doctor, you'll be successful, you make a lot of money. Now, entrepreneurship happens, but it's a tourism business, right? We're a tourism country. People come to Jamaica and feel all right. And you do that because of the tourists, taxi drivers, and, that's the way it was. So I think that has a lot to do with it. They want you to be successful. And my parents did too. And that was kind of what drove me to be a doctor. But we already said it. We gave the ending away, right? I'm not a doctor. So clearly something switched up.
Right. So tell us about, and this is a good segue too, because here's a bonus that I don't know if I prepped you on this one, right? We all have a Morgan story, right? Okay. And I'll share mine, but I want you to share yours first, right? So what's your Morgan story? Like, how'd you end up at Morgan? How'd you go from a doctor to a lawyer? Talk to us more about that. So,
like I told you, I was born in Jamaica. I didn't realize it until I was a teenager, but I was actually an illegal immigrant. I'm what you call a dreamer. So all that art, all that you hear about dreamers, I'm that definition. The dreamer, in short, is someone who's brought over by their parents, whether it be through, crossing the border illegally, or in my case, brought over on a visitor's visa. But in the visitor's visa, you overstay. So if you know what overstay is like, oh, yeah, I'm coming to visit for 2 weeks. 2 years later, I'm still in the building. I overstayed my visa. If I ever left the country, they would never let me back in because I violated. So we didn't leave, and we're trying to live under the radar. Well, what does that mean? You work off the books. You don't have a social security number. And I didn't realize that until I was getting ready to apply to college. So even though I had pretty good grades, because I worked hard in high school, not the hardest, but I definitely put my head down and made sure I did what I needed to do. I was applying for a whole bunch of things, try to put a social security number. I don't have one. So I couldn't actually get into college. And people don't realize that, right? So here I was, a guy now, when you look back in retrospect, oh, Mike is really smart. He did all these. I could have not had any opportunities. And it wasn't for a guidance counselor who was like, you know what? You're too smart. Your SAT scores are too high. Your GPA is too high. Why are you not applying to school? In my head, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going to go to community college, which doesn't require a social security number. And I'm going to work off the books, keep paying for my mom and my little sister to live, so we all right. And I'm going to just keep it moving that way. Maybe I'll translate that little 2-year to a 4-year. Maybe I'll get my paperwork right. I had applied with lawyers to get my paperwork, but I'm not even going to bore you with the legal system on immigration. But man, you all the way down there. They're not worried about getting you converted to come over here legally. So it was happenstance. Morgan State was the school that said, you know what, this kid is too smart to miss out on an education. And by the way, Morgan has tons of programs like that. Morgan lets people who have been in juvenile detention, people who have been through programs that would never get admitted to the schools that they think they want to go to. Morgan will give you that academic education. And they gave me a full scholarship. And from then on, I was like, wait a minute, this is like a blessing. I had applied to other schools through my guidance counselor. There was a couple schools here in Atlanta and across the country who were like, we'll do the same thing. But Morgan came back quick, back with the letter. It was all embossed with the blue and the orange. And I was like, oh man, I'm getting into a 4-year school, full ride. And I wasn't going to squander that. That was my moment. So that took
Wow.
me to Morgan, man, to study biochemistry, and that's what I did.
Wow. Shout out to O'Connell Hall, because when I
Oh
transferred
yeah,
to
yeah, OC.
the OC, I stayed in OC. The first cats I met were actually a group of 4 or 5 New Yorkers, and they all were from a juvenile program. And those cats, talk about, first of all, I didn't know it, right, until like, hanging with them for months, right? And they're like, I knew they're from New York, right? But they just had the typical New York swag, right? So I just knew, like, yo, y'all cats from Harlem. I mean, I think 2 of them was Harlem, 1 from Brooklyn. They were from all over the city. And it wasn't until later I was like, yeah, we talking about high school, and I was like, yeah, I went to Trenton High, but I'm really a sophomore. And they were like, oh yeah, we came from, we were locked up, basically. I was like, pardon? They were like, yeah, we came through a program, we were locked up. These cats had 4.0 GPAs in our first semester. They were freshmen technically, right? It was crazy. But Morgan, literally, I will say, just like you just said, it gave people opportunities. So similar to my story, I started off at UNC Greensboro in Greensboro, North Carolina, right? Went to the UNC school, very proud about it. And I think most people know, but I flunked out my freshman year. Flunked out, right? I had a 1.7 GPA, right? So I was on academic probation. Then the second semester, it was like, yo, you got to go. You got to go sit home for a while, right?
Right.
So when I went home back to New Jersey, back to Trenton, New Jersey, went back to my old job working at Circuit City. And the one thing that like kept me going, right, that didn't discourage me, was people was like, yo, all right, you back, but you better not stay here, right? So I only stayed home for one semester. So I stayed home for 3 months, enrolled at Morgan. That was because I got basically kicked out of school after my freshman year. So spent all summer home and spent the first semester of what would have been my sophomore year at home. Enrolled at Morgan January of 1999. And crazy thing is, I tried to go back to my old school, and they were just kind of like, you could come, but no money, right? And I applied to a bunch of schools in New Jersey. The one school that accepted me was Morgan State University, right? Morgan State sent me, the letter. And here was the catch. They only took 3 credits from that terrible first year I had. So I was basically starting over. So a year and a half, I lost pretty much a year and a half of school. And technically, I still graduated. I graduated a year late, right? So technically, from 97 to 2002. So I graduated in 5 years still, even though I lost a year and a half. So technically, when you really look at it, I kind of graduated in 3.5 years of real school, because Morgan also let me. I went to summer school every summer, but I also got exceptions. I don't know if you remember, you could do this. I got exceptions. I took 21 credits every semester instead of the max of 18. I took an extra.
Wow.
I took an extra 3 credits every single semester because I was so behind, and quite frankly, I couldn't afford to be in school for that much longer, because your student loans actually run out after 5 years, I think, right? And that scared me, because I said, well, look, if that window closes, I'm cooked. So I had to do it. So still graduated in technically 5 years, which was worked out. But that was my Morgan story. And then I want to get into, because all this is super inspiring, man, like just your story. But here's a question I always ask my fellow Morgan folks, right? And we're in October, but do you remember where you were September 11th, 2001?
Oh, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. So I was in Cumming. I was in the Cumming dormitory at Morgan. And it was an off day. So normally I had classes at 8 a.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I didn't. I get a phone call from my then girlfriend, now wife, who also graduated from Morgan State University, who was leaving. Yes. Love you. That's my baby. We named our daughter Morgan. That's how much we love Morgan. We met at Morgan freshman year, first class honors bio 111. It was a beautiful thing. She was actually leaving the Pentagon. She had an appointment. So she was in the Army. She is now retired from the Army. She was leaving a VA appointment at the Pentagon in DC. And behind her, she saw the second impact.
Wow. That's crazy.
Crazy. So she hits me. She's like, do you know what's going on? I was asleep because it was my off day. I didn't have to wake up early. I pop up, turn on the TV. I'm seeing that the first plane had hit, and I'm watching all this recap, and I'm losing my mind because I'm from New York. So I know a lot of people who work down there, work in that building. She's telling me that she's actually seeing all the smoke coming from the Pentagon behind her, and it was just chaos, man. I remember. I will never forget that day. Honestly, never forget 9/11, man. That was a thing, all the people, her and others who served, appreciate them fighting for our independence. But man, I'll never forget that day.
Yeah, never forget, man. I never forget. I was on a bench because I was poli-sci. I was always usually at Holmes. Most of my classes were at Holmes Hall. I was sitting on the bench right outside of Holmes, and I remember I had a Nextel phone. Remember Nextel phones, with the chirp?
Oh yeah.
My joint went off, and I'm like, yo. So somebody was like, yo, you from up top? A plane just was flying too low and hit one of the towers. And I was like, what? That's crazy. Like, if it was coming from Newark, it was coming from JFK, it was coming from LaGuardia. How that happen? That's crazy. And it never took off, it never got up. And then, of course, the first thing I do is I run into Holmes Hall and the TVs are on, and I'm looking, and it's all in the news. So I'm calling one of my closest friends, my man Count, lived in New York, worked in Building 7. I was trying to call him, but if you're from New York, you're trying to call people, nobody's phone was working for like all day.
Right.
It was all busy signals.
Right.
And then I called my mom, and she was like, yeah, plane just was flying low and it hit. And, obviously, unfortunately, we all watching TV and everybody like, I can't believe this plane. Then the other one comes.
The second plane. Yep.
Crazy. And then you just scramble at that point. You just on the phone trying to call everybody. I had Sprint, Nextel, Sprint, whatever it was. It was Nextel. And it was just like everybody's phone was busy. It was a crazy day, man. But yeah, I always ask people that because, especially us that were there at Morgan, most of the time I feel like somewhere on the yard at that time when it happened. So that was a moment of history for real. Let's get into what you're doing today, man, because I really want people to see, man, the amazing person and man you've become, the steps you took, and just dreams come to life, man. Because a lot of people, especially people we're trying to reach, need to understand that dreams come true, right? If you believe in them and if you go for them. The road isn't always straight, but let's talk about what you're doing today, what brought you to that, and tell us a little bit more about being Associate General Counsel at Meta. Man, bro, I'm so proud of you, man. This is crazy, man. Talk to us more about that, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Well, going back to my story, right? I had to pivot. I got out of Morgan, was fortunate, graduated with honors, took the MCAT, got into medical school. Oh, here we go. We about to make it do. Nope. Still didn't have my paperwork come through. Still didn't have my social security number. So I couldn't get in, couldn't get any scholarships, couldn't go to medical school, even though I'd done all the steps it took to get in. My MCATs weren't high enough, so I couldn't get a scholarship.
So even though you were at Morgan undergrad, because your paperwork wasn't right, you couldn't go to grad school. You couldn't get into medical school. Wow.
Nope.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that.
I could not. Yeah, that's what happened. So when I was going to go to medical school,
did you have a green card or visa? Like, how were you, or you were just totally just here?
Morgan took me in as a Caribbean student. I was classified as a Caribbean student.
You was just outside.
So I was just outside. That's it. So they were like, come on, you're a Caribbean student. So say less. All right, let's go. And thanks to Morgan, man. I was a desk attendant, started working as a desk attendant first, and then I became a resident assistant. Well, at Morgan, you would get room and board comped. But because I was on a scholarship, they would write me a check and give me that money back. I would just send that money home.
Oh,
so that money would go home to my mom and my little sister, help pay for my sister to get through school, keep a couple dollars in my pocket in case I wasn't going to eat at the refac. Wanted to kind of slide to Chick-fil-A real quick in the student union. So, I had a couple dollars in my pocket. Yeah. Right. And you know us, right? There's always a hustle. So I started flipping kicks.
Okay.
So took a couple $1,000, started buying some J's. That's when they started
you was doing that before the game even was.
Oh yes, before eBay, baby.
That's the Jamaican in you, man. That's the Caribbean in you, man.
Always been an entrepreneur, man. Always been an entrepreneur. So I was taking care of people at Foot Locker and other places. Look, let me get 5 pairs on a discount. I'll give you your pair for free, and I would stash them and then sell them later. So we stayed dripped out. I remember you stayed dripped out on the yard. The same thing. But that's because I was flipping the money.
Tri-State always had to represent, though. You know what I mean? Everywhere we were, we had to let them know, like, bring our style and our swag, everything about us. That whole aura of being from up north, we had to bring that down.
So, here I was, and the medical school I wanted to go to, New York Medical College, was like, yeah, absolutely, you can come in, you can matriculate in August, and this is June. You can matriculate in August as long as you bring $49,000 to write a check. If I could write a check for 49 stacks in 3 months, I'm not going to medical school because clearly I'm doing something well. Yeah. So here I was, man. This is actually a true low point, right? It's a true low point for me because I had done all the right things.
Right.
I'd done all the right things. I'd stayed out of trouble. And trust me, it's not like trouble didn't come looking for me. It's not like I didn't think about getting into trouble because I totally did. That's a whole nother story, but I didn't. And here I was, and I didn't really have an option. So what I did is I started a tutoring company. Used my mom's social security number because she had gotten hers through her dad. Started a tutoring company and started tutoring for 2 years. So I taught for 2 years. Started teaching a number of different things, high school math and science at a Christian Academy in Yonkers. And then a buddy of mine was like, man, you could teach anything. Teach me to take the LSAT. I'm like, bro, I don't know how to take the LSAT. That's law. That's like outside of my game. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I got some books off of eBay. eBay was just starting to come up. I had known because I was starting to flip some kicks on eBay. Got some old LSAT books. Most of the answers in them joints were wrong. So that's a whole other story. But we started from the bottom, went through it all. And he was like, before the test was he said, you know what? You're really good at this. You're better at this than I am. Shout out to my friend. He's actually general counsel now at a big blockchain company. But we studied together. I got scholarships to go to law school because I took the LSAT because I helped him study. And mind you, doing these 2 years, I was seeing a lot of movers and shakers, people in New York that were not just in the law, but they were doing like deals and hedge funds and accounting and all kinds of things that you're like, wait a minute, lawyers are involved in that? And they're like, yes, lawyers involved in everything. There's a lawyer for everything. And so that's how I pivoted, man, and ended up going to law school. Went to Fordham in New York City and was rubbing elbows with people from Harvard and Stanford and other big institutions, man, because I had made it, right? And at that point, I never looked back and worked at several law firms for a few years doing intellectual property. We talked about that. Really helping my clients in a number of things, acquire a lot of innovation, defending litigation, all of the above. And then one of my clients, Meta, I was doing litigations for them. They were like, yo, we want you to come in-house. We'd like you to join us, be a part of the squad. And I really had to think about it. This is during the pandemic. And I was sitting there with my wife and I said, you know what? I really like the team. I like what they're doing. I like the mission. You don't get these opportunities often to go in and work for a company like Meta. And I can really make some big change because the name is powerful. And so she said, I've never seen you more passionate, happier. Go ahead, let's do it. So here we are.
Wow. Real dope, man. Did you know Doug Clemens went to Morgan? I think he went to Fordham, law student. You knew Doug?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Doug.
Yeah, Doug was like
Very
like
good
a
people.
roommate of mine. Like, we lived. So when I first got to Morgan, I lived in OC, and then the next year I lived right on Cold Spring, right across the street from the yard. And those, you always talk about that, your first apartment. Well, that was one of those first apartments living over there. And Doug was like a pseudo roommate of ours. Right, that's another story. But
You're right.
Name, that's what I had a question about earlier. So Meta, formerly known as Facebook, but when we still log on the app, we still see the word Facebook. What is that dynamic now? Just out of curiosity.
That's a great question. So when you log on to Facebook, you still see the Facebook app. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg, who founded Facebook in college, which is where he dropped out of college in order to pursue it full time, created the app Facebook, which we all know and love today. Now, of course, maybe the demographic has slid upwards a little bit, but Facebook has grown significantly from that college dorm room, right? So in addition to becoming a publicly traded company, it has made some strategic acquisitions and developments, such as Instagram. So we own Instagram. We purchased Instagram many years ago, grew it into what you see today. We also have WhatsApp, which is the #1 global communication platform, secure, allowing me to speak to my family in Jamaica and beyond. And then, of course, we've got other things too. So we purchased a company by the name of Oculus many years ago. Now, Oculus is big, number one brand for virtual reality headsets. So we've taken that and we've spun that out into a whole new division called Reality Labs. Reality Labs is where we're developing augmented reality and virtual, and a number of different products. So in addition to our cool headset that you can get on the market today, we launched glasses in partnership with Ray-Ban. It's got the cameras on it. You got microphones in the headset. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. It allows you to kind of record your kid's game without having to hold a phone in front of your face the whole time. Or if you're moving and shaking, be able to listen to audio while I'm running, capture pictures, respond to text messages, listen to Spotify. All that stuff is a beautiful thing while I'm on the move. And so the product division, plus everything we're allowing to do, communicate now, right, through Instagram and Facebook. What we're saying is, what would it look like communicating in the future? And that's the whole concept of the metaverse. And so Mark is like, let's build it. Let's build this all-encompassing internet where you can jump in using these same glasses. If you're just running down the street and you're like, you throw these on, and behind this, all you're seeing is a beautiful beach scenery. And you get to hear the beach roaring in the back of your head. And on the same time, I've got you on the other side of the screen, and I'm able to communicate with you just in a normal pair of glasses. That's the vision we're building.
Wow.
Being able to Web3, right? Like the next iteration of communication. So we try to think of like Web 1 is like basic AOL chat. Web 2, sharing of media. So now you can go see somebody's story. We got whole videos. We're sharing family pictures. That's kind of Web 2, right? We're sharing media back and forth. Web 3 is that presence, beaming you right beside me, your virtual avatar, my virtual avatar, having a chat, same way we're doing now, in a way that feels like as if you're here, and being able to do that across the world. It's like, yo, you want to meet up for coffee in Paris at 12? Let's go. Visor on, coffee at 12, right? Sitting underneath the Eiffel Tower. And that's kind of what we envision as Web3. And the changing of the name was to say, we building it. We want you to build it with us. Because it's around two things. It's around you, and it's around doing it so that everybody can partake in it.
Man, that's crazy, man. Yep. So are those glasses available now?
Oh, yeah. Rayban Stories. Go to rayban.com and check them out. They Rayban Stories. Yeah, we'll talk. I got them in blue, black. We got the transition lenses, so you can rock them inside and outside. So it's a beautiful thing.
Rayban Stories. Wow. I'm gonna jump on that. Yeah, if y'all ever need somebody to test out stuff, man, focus group, call me, man. I love this. Here's something I really love about the context of what you're saying and the story you're telling right now. And this will help us. You did a lot of shifts and pivots post Morgan, and part of that has created what your mission is, right? And I love the fact that this is showing people that, look, the world and the possibilities are endless. The things you're talking about, you can be a part of. Like, these are things that people that grew up like me, people that grew up like you, we don't dream about having these types of discussions and having this type of impact. And this type of impact you're having, discussions you're in, right? We don't really dream about working at Meta, right? We don't dream about owning our own businesses, being real estate brokers. We don't dream about that stuff enough, right? Because we are so kind of blocked, right? Or one-sided. But now you have yourself, and you're a role model, right? You are a vision of the future, and for people to see it. So, with that, man, talk to us a little bit more about the mission, man. What's the Mike Benz mission?
It's pretty straightforward, man. I'm trying to give little, boys and girls and theys and thems and underrepresented minorities across the globe to be able to say, you know what? I'm not limited to what I see, and exposing them to more and getting them an opportunity to realize I can be Kenya when I grow up. I can be Mike Benz. I can run an entire team at Meta. Matter of fact, I can run Meta. I can own Meta. I can make my own startup. I can be an entrepreneur. I can be a lawyer. I can be a hedge fund manager. I can be a real estate broker. I can own my own real estate company. All of those things are out there, and I never knew about them. I really had no clue, no concept. Same we talked about before. You've got people who are we see sports and entertainment. And then you may hear from your parents, you could be an engineer or a doctor. But I mean, until Obama, we didn't think we could be president.
This is true.
You got to see it and visualize it to achieve it. I would not be able to tell you that at the age of 40, I would own several companies, several pieces of real estate, work at Meta, have my own intellectual property. I'm an inventor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a philanthropist. And, oh, by the way, in my day job, I happen to run all of the patent innovation going into your feed every day.
Wow.
I would never fathom that, right? But I'm nobody special. And that's what we're trying to get these little kids to do. I'm just trying to bring more women and underrepresented minorities into the legal profession and then broadly into the professional realm. And I'm trying to do that under my brand, Game of Law. So that's the goal. GOL, the game of law.
Oh man, love it. Love it. Y'all see it. Game of Law. Check it out. Make sure y'all support it. Another thing too is it's just like you said, they need our youth need to dream bigger. Little minority kids need to dream bigger. And look, even if you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship isn't built for everybody, but you are an example of companies like Meta, one of the largest global companies in the universe, no talent, and they will come get talent when they see it, right? So it's crazy. Another good friend of mine I grew up with in Jersey was a state trooper, and he was the governor's Secret Service, right?
Yep.
One day, Mark Zuckerberg and the governor are meeting, and guess what? He becomes, a couple months down the road, Mark Zuckerberg's, private security detail. Because they said they reached out to him. Hey, my man, we're really impressed with, the way you
move was strong.
Would you come over? Would you think about moving to California? Now, that has catapulted him. He moved to California, was part of Mark Zuckerberg's executive security detail. And now he's somebody to create, I was like, wow, bro, that's a blessing. He's like, oh yeah, man, if I lose my iPhone, we got vending machines. We just go, scan our card at the Facebook headquarters, at the time, Facebook headquarters, and boom, another iPhone comes out the vending machine. No big,
he's not lying.
No, he's like, no big deal. He's like, oh yeah, if we like a local restaurant, we'll buy it and put them in our food court on campus. Right? I mean, this is stuff that a young kid, just a kid from Trenton, just a kid from the Bronx, just a kid from Yonkers. These are things that we don't see, but these are things that just a kid from Yonkers is now, running a huge organization at Meta. Right. So, and now he runs his own consulting program. Right. So that catapulted him he never wanted to be an entrepreneur. He was a state trooper. He thought he was going to be a state trooper from the day he signed on and going to retire, get his pension. And now he runs a security detail consulting program, mindset wellness program. I mean, that's the opportunities that, our young little minority kids have to realize that they have, and that's available, and that it's possible. Right. So, big things, man. What else do you do now, man? Anything outside of work? I know you're into some nonprofits, big DEI advocate. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Oh, DEI is kind of what I do. It's my passion. It's a lifeblood. I'm trying to make sure that when I step into a courtroom, people aren't telling me, oh, are you the criminal defendant from so-and-so? No. I'm actually the lawyer for the big company.
Right. And
I need the rest of the courtroom to look like that too. The problem is people don't know the statistics, right? Our population, African Americans make up 13% of the population? We're only about 5% of lawyers. That doesn't make sense, right? That doesn't make sense.
In my world, similar, very underrepresented from a professional standpoint and a home ownership standpoint, but that's another episode for us.
And what you're doing is trying to change that narrative, and I'm trying to do the same thing. It gets even worse when you start thinking about intellectual property. The innovation of the mind, patents, copyrights, trademarks. The things that we come up with and share on social media, we don't own it. But the practitioners in that field, 1.8%. So it goes from 13 in the community, 5% in law to less than 2%.
Wow.
And I can't really, I can't stand for that. That's not an opportunity I like. So I'm trying to change that. And so we started different initiatives, adapt.legal, websites live, teaches you how to really bring more women and underrepresented minorities into the patent profession, giving them a leg up, scholarships, opportunities, mentorship, so that they can craft a career that's successful, so that one day they could take my role, they can take our general counsel's role, they can run their own companies. All of those things are very important to me. It's also important that I teach young women and underrepresented minorities about the power of entrepreneurship if they so choose. You don't realize how easy it can be to innovate. And I always try to think about this, because how many of us really know the true names of inventors in the Black community? We may know George Washington Carver, right? You may think, oh, peanuts, cool. But that is that it, right? But so much research is being done about why the Black community has not invented and created new ideas that has really catapulted us to success. Madam C.J. Walker created her own cosmetics company. By all accounts, if you were extrapolate the amount of money she made, self-made billionaire. Right. We need to see more of those things in this day and age. You know what this is? It's a patent. That's an invention. This is something I created. I'm not special. If I can come up with an invention to start my own company, you can too. And so can the little boys and girls in our community, as long as they see it.
Right.
I own barbershops. Shout out to Friendly Faces in the DMV. And in Atlanta, SMS Barber Loft on Howell Mill. These are things that I'm a part of. I don't need my name out there, but they're building generational wealth. They're building things that I can leave to my children. And this is a kid who started from nothing, who was walking through, pissy hallway steps in order to get into my little 1-bedroom apartment I was sharing with 3 generations. We got to change that narrative. And so that's what keeps me going. That's what I'm passionate about. And that's what I'm constantly preaching about day in and day out.
Man, powerful, man, powerful. I'm gonna make sure I put all these links on the YouTube channel too, so everybody can check them out for real, man. But this is powerful stuff, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, man. 3 questions I always ask everybody, right, as we wrap up, and these are going to be 3 good questions for you. So the first one, next year I will be.
Next year I will be a global diversity, equity, and inclusion advocate in the legal space.
Nice. Sweet. In 5 years, I will be.
In 5 years, I will be the general counsel of a large Fortune 50 company and running several nonprofits focused on bringing women and underrepresented minorities into the legal profession.
All right. See it. It's already there. Look, reality.
Claiming it.
Yep, you're already there, just waiting for reality to catch up. So it'll be there. And then the last question, big question, my impact to the world will be
that we will begin to see parity with the legal profession and other professional careers that look like our broader society.
Wow. Deep, man. I already know the impact is going to really just sweep the world. I already know that there's so many little minority kids. There's so many teenage minority kids. There's so many 20-somethings and 30-somethings, even 40-somethings, whatever, that's going to listen to this. They're going to be impacted by it, and they're going to be inspired by it, man. So, man, this is deep. I hope y'all listening. This is Mike Benz, man. He is that guy. I mean, just bringing big dreams to life, letting you know that no matter where you start from, everything is possible. Everything is possible. And, Mike, me and you, we're probably gonna have an episode 2, man, because I got so many questions for you, man. I got so many questions. I know other people want to hear so much more about just all the knowledge that you have. So we'll definitely have to hook that up. But once again, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being open and giving people so much insight and so much inspiration. And I'm sure you're going to empower a lot of people just from this episode. So I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you having me, bro. Your platform is one that's impactful. It's creating change, and I'm happy to be a part of that change. So thank you for the invite. And I'll be back. Say less.
Yes. And anytime you need me, man, I got you. Like I said, I'm going to share the links on. I don't think people realize, right? First of all, our culture is the most captivating culture in the world, right? So when you talk about
absolutely
inventing, creation, that's us. That's what we do, right? That's just in our nature. We've been doing it since, the days of the kingdoms in where we come from.
Yep.
We're the most captivating culture in the world. but we also, I don't think we realize how small we are, right? And as small as we are, that's why so much big change is necessary, right? And so much big empowerment and motivation and just big action is necessary. That's just a thought that I
agree.
have.
We're a small but mighty population. We
Small,
influence so much change.
small,
We are maybe 13% of the population, but probably 1 in every 2 influential videos you watch.
right, right.
If we can't monetize that, if we can't take that intellectual property and use it to our advantage, get that secret sauce, own it, and then share it with the world, then we're missing out on greater opportunities. Now, we could talk all day about how to do that, but we've got a lot of work to do. But that 42 million, oh, we're coming.
Yeah,
we're coming.
Absolutely. Mike, appreciate you, man. Listen, man. Yo, I love you, bro. That's all. I can't. What can I say?
Love you too, bro. Love
I
you
love
too.
you, bro. Can't wait. Yo, I got to get down to ATL. You come up, whenever you come up top, we'll link. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. If you love the content, please like, subscribe, and share. Please share this episode with everybody you know. Please share this with teachers, with principals, with educators, with people that are doing things for the youth in the hood, everywhere. Please share this episode because everybody needs to see it. But in the meantime, y'all stay super blessed.